Welcome into a For What It's Worth episode 20. I am your host, Calvin Silvers, joined by Tyrone Thornton and Erik Kellgren. Guys, how you guys doing? Before you even say anything, Erik, Tyrone, it's good to have you back too. I'm excited for this one because we got a lot to jump into. So it's good to have you back. Erik, I didn't mean to, interrupt your introduction. We're going to get into some Eagles and some Lions and Packers and all this and that, some NFC talk. But before we get into that, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm excited to be back. I had a whole week of thinking. Maybe I got too excited. I had some busy stuff going on off of that Broncos game. I wasn't going through it, but I'm like, man, the adversity outside of the pod is overwhelming me right now. So I had to decompress my brain. But I'm all good now. Adversity be happening, and I gotta deal with it because it'd be like that.
That's how life does you sometimes. But yeah, you just got to overcome the adversity and anything Broncos related. Erik, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just chilling for real.
Yep. It's that time of the year, time for some relaxation, almost time for the holidays. Spend time with family, friends, all that good jazz. Anything specific you guys asked for Christmas?
This is honestly, I feel like this is the first time ever in my life I haven't won anything. I don't know what I want. I don't want nothing. I'm gonna be honest.
I think that's a sign of growing up.
But all of the stuff that I want, I feel like I can't ask nobody for that anymore. I want
in terms of just it costing too much, or just in terms of
what I really want. I don't really want.
That's fair.
Just give me the socks. I'll be cool with the socks. That's fine.
I think that's a sign of growing up a little bit. I'm still making a list here and there for the grandparents and whatnot, but yeah, definitely have to watch the price tag. I ask for a little too much sometimes here with the technology and whatnot, but I'm trying to make it work. A nice new podcast mic.
No, come on.
Yeah, nice new podcast mic might not be too bad. What about you, Erik? You got anything specific you're asking for?
Not really. Nope.
Fair enough. Look at us. We're all adulting.
I'm trying to get my hands on some Fortnite Crocs. That's about it.
Okay, there you go. That's something like it's a collab. Fortnite Crocs. I didn't catch this one.
Fortnite's coming up. Did you guys see that Fortnite is also coming out with a new Lego mode?
Yeah, it's like Lego GTA. Yeah, it's
crazy.
Fortnite is ridiculous.
Fortnite's not even Fortnite anymore.
Nah, it's just something else. It's Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox.
It's a hub for multiple games.
Fortnite's basically the metaverse without like.
No,
it is. It is.
It's here.
You don't have to use like any kind of virtual reality. Yeah, it's like a hub and a meta world. That's kind of crazy. What that game has become is ridiculous. But let's go ahead and talk some football now. We're actually going to dive into a little bit of college football, more just our opinions on how the college football playoff bracket turned out. But before we get into that, me and Erik last episode mentioned Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and the inability sometimes for them to get their passing game going, and how, Tyrone, you said in a couple episodes ago that you wouldn't want Jalen Hurts throwing for 35 times a game. And you would have thought we said the most outlandish things by some of the comments we got. Well, after this Sunday, I think we've solidified, Erik, what we were talking about last week, and Tyrone has solidified what he was talking about a couple weeks ago. So let's just dive into it. But let's start with the Lions first, because we were arguing that and Tyrone, I'll get your opinion on this, and I think I already know your answer. Are the Lions and the Eagles, are they a tier above everyone else in the NFC, or do you throw someone else in the mix?
No, the Packers right in there with them. The Packers are right there. The Packers, even though they lost, they competed with the Lions heavily. And I trust Jordan Love and the receivers and the team. They might be just a tad bit too young, but I'll put the Vikings in there too. The Packers and the Vikings need the respect. If people want to put respect on the Steelers' name, they need to put respect on the Vikings' name too. Because at this point of the season, only having 2 losses that's just impressive. That's impressive regardless of who's doing it and who's your quarterback.
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold is still proven that he can get the job done, and And he's showing up too when it matters sometimes. Now he's making some mistakes, but he's also pulling through when it matters sometimes. Now, Erik, we talked about this last week, but are you still in the same thought that it's the Lions and Eagles and a tier below that is others, or are you now including someone else in the mix after what you saw this weekend?
I think I'm gonna add the same two teams that Ty did because I saw a stat that I forgot exactly what it was, but I'm gonna try to get close. It was the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions are like since the first day of October, essentially, they're 28-3, and all three of their losses are to each other, basically. So like they beat yeah. So I think that's not a easy feat for sure. I think that all three of those teams are elite, and then the Bears are just bad in that division. So it's like
yeah.
So I think it's
had a fun start.
I think it's definitely those four, the Eagles, and then the top three NFC North teams are all elite for sure.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to keep the Lions and Eagles separated from the Packers and Vikings still, even after this weekend, even after what I saw from the Eagles. But the Eagles did open up a little more questions for me. The fact that the Lions got this win against the Packers and their defense is, I mean, they had a lot of defensive players out, but at least seven noticeable names were out, and the fact that they got it done. You guys were talking about, or at least Ty mentioned, you trust Jordan Love. I think he's limited the turnovers during this 3-game stretch, but he's still not really impressing me all that much this season overall. Like I said, lately down the stretch, he's kind of improved, and I guess if there's a time to improve, it's now. But I still don't know if I trust him fully. He didn't really take that step for me this year compared to what I saw at the end of last year.
That's not crazy to say to me, but I also think that just being there he's already been there. Last year, they surprisingly beat the Cowboys, which I'll give him credit for. They put the smackdown to the Cowboys. And I think that him being there before is enough solid footing for me to say, not that I believe in him, is that I know that he will get into the playoffs and not poop his pants. I know that he has not pooped his pants in the playoffs yet, which means that I can trust you somewhere. I might not, put my hard-earned USD on you, but, you are not somebody that is – you don't suck that bad.
He doesn't suck. No, he doesn't suck at all. I just don't know if I don't know if he would carry you to a Super Bowl, though.
Carry? No. Mm-mm.
I was hoping to see a little. I was just hoping to see a little more this year, I guess, is what I was trying to get at. Like I said, he still has the rest of the season, and he has limited the turnover, so that's a good step forward the rest of the way. But just the first half of the season didn't really impress me that much compared to, like I said, we were promised, I guess, seeing what he could do at the end of last season. Erik, are you pretty high on Jordan Love as well? Where do you kind of stand with him right now?
Yeah, I think he's still he still has room to improve for sure. I think.
Yeah.
I'm a Jordan Love enthusiast, I would say. So I want to see him do well for sure. Not saying that you guys don't, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. He definitely is doing really well for the weapons per se that he has. He's kind of like
great weapons.
Huh?
Yeah,
I think he has great weapons.
I hate Christian Watson. He sucks.
Why, man? Come on, Erik.
I hate
cool. Those are all like B receivers. They're all
Jaden Reed. I do like he pooped against the Lions, but I do like Jaden. I do like.
I have a question for y'all.
Yeah, sure.
Does Jordan Love have the potential on any given week? Can Jordan Love be the best quarterback in the NFC? Any given week, can he play the best out of all the quarterbacks in the NFC?
Oh yeah,
better than all of them.
Yeah, he can have any week. Yeah.
Mike White threw for like 400 yards. That's easy.
Can he do that? Do you think that he can do that in the playoffs? Do you think that he can outperform any given other quarterback in the NFC?
A playoff
regardless
team?
of win or loss, do you think that he himself could he do his personal best better than Goff, Hurts, Darnold, Stafford? Actually, hold on. Whoa. We missed something. The Rams are low-key heating up. I might have to add them.
No, you're pulling a Dan Orlovsky here, man. He's high on the Rams too. No, they beat the Bills, and all of a sudden we got to worry about the Rams.
Yeah, that's a great
100%.
win. That's a great win. When you can score that amount of points, I automatically am scared to play you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You could score that amount of. How many points did they give up as well?
That's true.
Their defense is not very good.
That's true.
They got ran by the Eagles. 17 points by the Eagles. The Dolphins beat them.
That is
I get it. They were injured, but they beat the Vikings. I'll give them that.
So right now,
lost to the Packers.
If the Rams
beat the Patriots,
they would be the Rams made the playoffs. They would probably be the 7th seed, which means they'll play the Eagles. Rams versus Eagles. Eagles are probably going to win, but I don't know. That's a tough game for a 7th seed.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree there that they're not something to sneeze at, but they're not getting to no NFC Championship. I don't think that.
But all these teams in the conference, they're the only one that has a Super Bowl win in recent history. They have it.
Well, it depends on if Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua can stay healthy too.
Max.
Some injury-prone receivers. But going back to your initial question, Ty, I do think Jordan Love in the playoffs himself, limiting turnovers, he could win them a game. I mean, if you look at against the 49ers, he had 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. You know what I'm saying? So, and in the game against the Cowboys, he had 0. So he can do it. He's just got to limit those turnovers. So yeah, I have trust in him. I just don't think he's going to take you to a Super Bowl. So, but if he has time to go through his progression, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks you say this for, but we saw when they were rushing him. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the first 7 dropbacks of the game, the Lions blitzed him. He was throwing off his back foot. And then later in the game, second half, they got that fixed up. You saw him going through progressions, making great throws, 206 yards. He had a touchdown. So give him some time. He'll be fine, but I still don't think he's your Super Bowl quarterback yet. But I want to go back to the Lions here. I got to ask you guys a question more about just Dan Campbell and that going for it on 4th down. 5 times they went for it on 4th down. Didn't get it once, and that set him up. And I'll get to that in a second, so I'll hold up on that. But 4 out of 5 times, do you guys think that's smart in any case?
Yeah, I do. I just think that means you're confident in your team. And he's so confident in his team that he's willing to put the game on the line at any given moment. He's like, I'll just put this is game. And if this is for game, I'm ready to play for it. And I think that is a confidence that's dangerous. It's when you're playing a team, I think that's a psychological advantage for the Lions going forward. Because if you play the Lions, you know that he's going for it on 4th down. And I feel like that is something that you have to prepare for. So I'll mess with it. Play a regular season game like that. Go for it on 4th downs. Because in the playoffs, you're going to be in a situation where you got to go for it on 4th down. So I like it. I think it's great. In season, in game, real life, pressure, must get it situation. And sometimes teams don't get in those, which that just means you won't be ready when the time comes.
Erik, what's your opinion on that? And just the fact that he went for it 5 times on 4th down.
I mean, I agree with that. What Ty was saying, like going for it, that's like trusting your player. I think building that is good, but that is pretty much. I mean, obviously not like totally, but that's part of the reason that they lost the NFC Championship last year is because Dan Campbell didn't settle for field goals whenever he could have just took points, and he just went for it and like failed, and then ultimately blew the game. So I'm still upset about that, but I think that is a good. Because, I mean, even if they would have got it, they were already, like, they were super close. The Packers would have had to drive really fast. Like, he left, 13 seconds on the clock if he wouldn't have got it or something like that. So, I think in that situation, it was a good call. But either way, if you kick a field goal, then, I mean, either way. I mean,
yeah.
Either way, the game's probably won, even though, I mean,
I don't hate it necessarily because you have a depleted defense. So anytime you can keep them off the field and keep going and getting points, that's smart. What I do hate is when he decides to do it sometimes. There was one time, now it worked out for him, so we're praising it. Now, if it didn't, it would be more of a talking point here, but they went for it on their own 31, and didn't get it. You just gave it to the – you know what I mean? On your own 31, I get going for it near midfield, the 40, your own 40 maybe onward. Your own 31?
Yeah, it's basically handing that. That's like handing that. Yeah, you're starting at field goal range. That's literally.
I respect what he does, because if I was the way I'm thinking about it is like, like he could change his way of how he does it, but I just think that would to me that would be a sign of him not being sure in what he's doing. But I really think that he's like, I'm so sure that this is going to work. And I think when you play with that type of confidence, like it just shows out what the Lions are. They're so confident and so sure in what they're doing that they're like, we'll go for it whenever. We don't care. That's how confident we are. Which
it's the consistency too. The consistency of him doing it. It's never, well, are they going to go for it here on fourth or not? When it's in these situations, he always goes for it in these situations. 4th and 1, 4th and inches, 4th and 2. Well, that's and that's tying back to your point too of just the fact that they believe in themselves because they've done it so much, and it's not a surprise to them. It's not a shock all of a sudden, like, oh, now coach wants to go for it. Now the pressure's really on. We know how to handle this pressure on fourth down and clutch situations. I will say, though, that can hurt you if you're not smart about it. That will hurt you in the playoffs, and what Erik was talking about, because the fact that you give it to a team on their own 31, and the Packers did score on that.
1,000%.
They scored on that.
To put this in basketball translation, this is like when a team only shoots threes. And I remember when the Rockets lost the Warriors and they missed 27 threes. They ain't stopped shooting them. They're just going to keep doing it. And I think at this point of with the team and all this, I think it would be weird if he didn't do it.
Then by the
4-2 in the playoffs, and they kick a field goal when they're like down, when the game is like, let's say they're down 3, and he's like, nah, let's go for the win. I think if he kicked the field goal, that would be like, maybe he don't believe in us. That's how I'd be.
That'd be changing the identity.
Maybe I'm thinking it too deep, but I'm like, at this point, stick with your guns and go with it. So anytime he goes for it on 4th down, just if they didn't get it, that's just, hey, that's just not how your team's built.
I mean, like I said, it ended up working for him, and so we can't really hate on it too much. But Jared Goff, this is kind of where I want to lead this now into, helps Detroit clinch the postseason berth, 11th consecutive win, franchise record. He was the standout, 283 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 13 straight completions to end the game. And we were talking, Erik, when the game comes down to it, who do you want the ball? Whose hands do you want the ball in? Who do you want throwing the ball?
Bryce Young, apparently.
We could go there too and talk about that, but we've said it's Jared Goff over Jalen Hurts, and the Lions' passing offense under Goff, it thrives on the short and medium throws. It's focused on ball control because Goff is near the bottom in air yards per attempt. 29 of his 41 passes against the Packers traveled under 10 yards, but that's also because you could get your running backs mixed in with it. But their success, it's just built on efficiency and checkdowns and short passes rather than deep shots. And I'm saying all this because it mirrors the Rams system when Todd Gurley was healthy, when Goff was there. That was a strong dual threat. That's what he has now. So it's kind of the same. And we saw him thrive there. He's thriving now. I just think his effectiveness in the way that he can control a game, and like we mentioned, he can even move a little bit in the pocket when he needs to, but I think he is still more efficient, and you need him more down the stretch than you would a Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts can maybe set you up for a nice touchdown with his legs and then maybe get you a good little 10-yard pass. But when it really comes down to moving the ball down the field, and Ty, I'll go to you and get your opinion on this, but when you really need the ball moved down the field, you go to Jared Goff. I don't know why anyone in the comments was saying to go the Hurts route. He's shown sparks. Sure, he's an NFL quarterback. I would expect him to. He's got to make throws and plays every once in a while. He's done that in the stretch. Duh. He's an NFL quarterback. But overall, he's not that impressive unless it's with his legs. It's at any point, and anything that he can do is all because of Barkley opens everything up. I mean, we were hearing his receivers get mad at him. Tyrone, take it away. I was rambling there because I was a little heated about this one. But let me hear your opinion.
I think that I don't know if I would say I trust Jared Goff in himself more, but I trust the things that surround him
Why?
that enable him to succeed. I trust Amon-Ra. I trust their 2 running backs. I trust Laporta. Like I trust all them. So like, yeah.
Ty, if he didn't have that 5 interception game, he would probably be second with Barkley in MVP right now, behind Josh Allen.
Yeah, but he did though. I respect Jared Goff, but I do not. I trust the Lions as a team more, but I don't know if I trust Jared Goff more. I think that he can keep you on schedule, keep things on, lead a drive, but I don't think that if you ever needed him to be like Superman, he can't do that. Like he's that's just not him.
Hurts is?
I think that Hurts has more of the ability to be a Superman, but he struggles.
Based on what?
He struggles with keeping on schedule, all of that, the regular stuff. I'll say probably the best game of his career that he lost in the Super Bowl. He was going crazy. You know, remember when he played the Chiefs?
Lost.
He lost. He did lose. He did.
They entered this week with the NFL low 307 passing attempts on the season. He can't throw the ball. In the playoffs, when you need to throw the ball and move the ball, they can't do it. They're not going to be able to do it.
I do think
he's indecisive in the pocket. He turned down open receivers against Carolina. He held on to the ball too long, and Carolina came in with one of the worst pass defenses in the league.
I think that
he was overlooking them, but this is not good. I can't believe this is shocking to me.
I think that the gap between Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts is not not significant to me. It doesn't move the needle for me.
They're both 83 net passing yards against the Panthers. Or sorry, and I misspoke. Excuse me. I didn't mean the best passing defense. I meant one of the worst. I think I said one of the best. I meant one of the worst passing defenses he went against.
That's not a good
look. They were allowing 225 passing yards a game.
But the Panthers also clamped up the Chiefs like not that long ago. Like it I guess like
look at the Chiefs. They're gonna play every team down to the final seconds. I don't weigh that on any scale.
I don't distrust
Jadeveon Clowney out. Their top cornerback was out for a majority portion of the game. What is that? I can't believe this. I'm kind of shocked you're so high on Hurts right now.
No, he's leading. The Eagles are doing better than what people thought they were going to do this season. So I'm not going to throw him any shade.
Is it because they're winning?
Yeah, they're winning games.
I feel like that's masking up a lot of problems. I guess you could say the same about the Chiefs, though.
They're just winning, so it's like, well, I mean, I guess I don't trust him, but he's winning games. EK, how you feel?
I kind of see what you're saying. Like, there might not be that.
Don't let him persuade you now.
No. I'm still definitely.
He does this with Denver.
I'm still definitely picking. Picking Jared Goff, but I mean, I could probably list 5 NFC quarterbacks that I would pick over Jalen Hurts. Not even NFL, NFC quarterbacks. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. According to Sunday, I'd rather have Bryce Young. He went 98 yards, and Xavier Leggett dropped the game-winning pass.
And that's the only reason they won to.
Yeah. But, no, I'm kidding about Bryce Young. Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. Maybe 3. 3, that's enough. That's enough.
You guys are disrespecting the NFL quarterback rushing touchdown leader with 13 rushing TDs. Let's go.
Who cares?
That's what he's going to do passing. At least Lamar, his biggest hang-up at first was that he couldn't pass. He proved that wrong. And look how efficient.
Hurts is not a prolific passer. He's not going to.
No, he's not.
That's what we're saying, guys. It's literally our entire point.
And when it comes down to the playoffs, if you have to move the ball down the field and pass because they're going to lock up Barkley, you got to move the ball, and he has not been able to prove that yet.
I mean, what has Jared Goff done in his career that Jalen Hurts hasn't? Nothing. He hasn't did nothing more. He ain't did nothing more. They just do.
I would still trust him.
They go about
passing more.
Wait, what did you say, Ty? They didn't do what?
They haven't. What is Jared Goff did? What has he did that Jalen Hurts hasn't? Would you say, all right, so would you say that this season right here that Jared Goff is having is better than any season Jalen Hurts has ever had?
I mean,
I don't think we can say that. I don't think we can say that.
I mean, if we're talking overall terms of the history of Detroit and just what that
just
franchise has been and what he has done for that,
their respective careers, they would be very, very compatible.
I'm still trusting Jared Goff down the
Goff
stretch.
probably has he's a better passer, but trust in the playoffs, it's about the same for me. It's about the same.
Okay, but here's the thing too, in the fact that I think the 5 interception game really kind of diminished Goff here and kind of, I think, is allowing people to talk more bad on his name than needs to be. But the fact that Jalen Hurts, I mean, I feel like he's always running mostly, so he doesn't have the opportunity to make really big mistakes like that, unless it's a fumble or something.
Plus, bet, cool. If nothing's
I'm saying it, but
pick off.
But what I'm saying is he's not throwing the ball still. I don't know why, and all of a sudden you would trust him in a playoff game to march a team down the field. Why would you trust him to do that? He can't. He's proven that he can.
The thing is, that's not what they're trusting him to do. They're just trusting him not to turn it over. They're like, if you don't turn it over, we'll be fine.
Right. Until Barkley gets shut down and there's nothing they can do.
And then that's the way that team loses. That's just how they would lose. That's just how their team is designed.
I also saw a thing that A.J. Brown hasn't got double-digit targets since like week 1 or 2, and Devontae Smith was out.
I don't think
he's not hitting the open receivers.
I don't think that's a Jalen Hurts thing. I think that's like systematic. Like let's
I think it's both.
Let's not have him throw this ball. Like no,
I saw 4. I think
maybe,
it was,
but
I think
pass it up open players.
It was Emmanuel Acho, however you say his name.
Yeah,
he posted. There was like 4 clips of him, A.J. Brown running a simple slant. He was looking right at him and then just checked it down instead.
So if that's the point, if it's schematics like you're saying, Ty, well, if you're training him to do that, that's not good either. At least Goff can at least read
That's why people don't like Nick Sirianni. That's why they don't like the coach.
So that's fair, but then that just comes back to our whole point of why the Lions are better, A, and B, why we would trust Goff more in a situation than Jalen Hurts. Or Dan Campbell over Nick Sirianni in that, for that matter.
I trust Jared. This is the reason why. I don't trust Jared Goff more because I just trust the people around him because he was able to throw 5 picks and his team was still able to win. That means that everybody else around you was doing so good at their job that you can suck.
Also CJ Stroud threw like 3 or 4 picks that same game.
Yeah, and his team lost because he don't got dudes like that on his team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, the Texans are definitely not what we thought they were going to be either.
No, their O-line suck.
So, yeah, yeah, all right. I'm just saying, down that stretch, he hit St. Brown in the 4th quarter. Then they had Montgomery punch it in. Laporta had a touchdown catch from Goff in the 2nd, so he was still an instrument there in that. Before we move on to the college football, I do want to say one thing, because if we don't mention him, I feel like it's, we didn't do justice here. But the Chiefs, doink for the division. AFC West champions again. I know that probably hurts Ty a little bit to see that happen.
I don't care. Like I have zero care about the Chiefs right now.
The fact that they beat the Chargers twice now this season. I don't think necessarily this is going to catch up to the Chiefs soon, but it will catch up to them in the Super Bowl. Maybe even an AFC Championship. I highly doubt it, but probably Super Bowl if they don't get that left tackle or just offensive line figured out. It's gonna be like the Bucs again in the Super Bowl if they don't get that figured out, because in the Super Bowl, when it's the final game, there's nothing else. All tricks and everything have to be shown. You know what they are, and if you know that O-line's bad, if it's not fixed by then, yeah, you just blitz. Just blitz.
That's always been my thought against the Chiefs. I'm definitely not very, very, very low level knowledge of what is actually going on with the defenses. But from my prediction view, my thought would be like, well, he's good at passing, so obviously any coverage you throw, it's not working. He knows what's going on. So you should just hit him. Just hit him every play. If you try to hit him every play, I mean, that's the simple as it gets. If you hit him every play or try to, the odds of your success, I think, would be in your favor if you can get help.
And we've seen him hurt before. He's not someone that doesn't get hurt.
I'm not okay.
But yeah,
hurt him.
no, I'm not saying you're saying hurt him. I'm just saying if you keep getting hit, it's going to take a toll.
Yeah, like he's going to play worse.
He was sacked 3 times, hit far too many times. Other than that, pressured 38% of his dropbacks on Sunday night. DJ Humphries allowed 8 pressures. He hasn't played a game for a whole year. So I understand it's going to take him some time to get into it, but you're going against guys who have been playing for 14 weeks now. 15 weeks next week, 16 weeks the week after that. You know what I mean? And you're on week 2 of playing. You're so far behind. It's still going to be a problem on that left side. Yeah, although Mahomes still completed 24 of his 37 passes, 210, and a touchdown. Get this, 2.62 average seconds per throw. That's his quickest average time since week 2.
The Chiefs, if I could make a parallel.
And they still won.
What the Chiefs are right now, I thought of a great analogy. I used to run cross country. And in order to go to state for cross country or go to state, you got to run in districts. The top 15 runners in districts go. And like the week or 2 before, usually you run a cross country meet. And it doesn't matter what place you finishing first, second, you're trying to run a PR. You're racing against yourself. And I hope that the Chiefs, they're trying to beat their personal best and not trying to preserve energy. Because when you preserve energy, it don't really work out in your favor. So I hope these next couple games for the Chiefs, or at least the Steelers game, after that one, if they want to shut it down, they can. But I want to see the Chiefs play a really well-executed game for 4 quarters. That's what I want to see.
I don't think Erik, I'll let you hop in here in a second because I've been stealing the mic a lot tonight. But I don't think they will. I think just with that secondary and then, Pacheco having to come back from an injury, Hopkins, he's pretty well involved now in the offense, but he's still getting his feet wet a little bit, I'm sure. So I think you can't, in terms of just kind of lay back a little bit. I think you have to keep going. Everyone has to still stay accustomed. You don't want Kelsey to get any kind of break with him aging. You want to keep him going at all times. You don't want Pacheco to dial it back after you have to get him back, ramp back up for game. You don't want Hopkins to slouch. And then, like I said, the secondary, you can't really allow them to slouch. And they didn't, I thought. On Sunday, I thought they played fairly decent there. So, Erik, what's your thought on the Chiefs right now?
Pretty much whatever media source is saying here, it's like they're winning games close. I don't know. They interviewed Chris Jones last night after the game, and he was saying, "Yeah, we're gonna we're trying to practice playing close games because in playoffs we're gonna play teams that are good, and it's gonna be a close game naturally."
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. Either they're really bad and they're getting lucky at the end, or they're doing it on purpose and then they're gonna get to the playoffs and then go crazy.
See, doing stuff you can't do that on purpose. That's like making
I know,
your girl mad.
Not
like
on
making your girl mad and seeing how well you can handle it. Like, all right, I'm gonna make her mad today. So when she really get mad, I'm gonna know how to respond.
Not like that, but like not
all those. Cool.
I don't know. That's what
as Mahomes said. It's all for the ratings. I don't know. It is just funny. It is funny. They'll. I'm not agreeing or saying that's what they do or that's what Erik was saying. But it is interesting how they'll just play with their food until the last 2 minutes or last 3 minutes. The only time it didn't work out for them was the Bills, and then they just go down, do what they need to do, and get out of there. That's all they got to do. Mahomes will step up in the moments when it matters. He played good. He played fairly good. He was getting pressured a lot, but it's really what he does in the moments this season is what's sticking out to me more than overall play.
Yeah, he's the best situational clutch quarterback in the NFL by a large margin. He's in a league and class of his own.
Yeah.
But
all right. Go ahead.
No.
You sure?
100%.
All right. I was just gonna say let's hop into some college football here and talk the college football playoff. And let's just throw it out there right now. Tyrone, do you agree that SMU should be in over Alabama?
Yeah, put them in there. I was thinking about it. I think that if you're Alabama, winning only losing 2 games is like you should just do that. If you're as good as you say you are, and you're Alabama University and you're held to this high prestige, then be good. Then, if you were Alabama, you should be like, I'm a top 5 team in the country. I number 1 consistent. Shouldn't have to dwell on, are you better than SMU? If that's the question for Alabama, you're not in.
Erik, how do you feel about it?
I saw this. Oh well, never mind. It was about Bama. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not like well versed in college football as much as I probably should be, but I think SMU getting it definitely probably deserves it more than Bama. Just like giving it to Bama just because they're Bama, like that's dumb. I think. I think that's not that life is fair, but I think that's unfair to SMU.
It would be.
But I am excited to see them play like a Power 4 school, along with Boise State, because I want to see how Boise State matches up against like an actual good team, especially at this point a college playoff team.
So I'll get here in a second into more of that, but I just want to say here that they had to put SMU in. They had to. And I agree that they should be in, but you had to put them in. Otherwise, there's going to be no more conference.
You have to they have to keep their integrity and show face at least for the first 2 or 3 years. They'll probably start doing some stuff like that, and like once everybody's acclimated, they'll pull the Florida State again.
Because if you are going to be penalized for making a championship of your conference, no matter what conference it is, then yeah, the team's going to get sick the night before the game because of the potential of losing, and then be like, well, you can't leave us out now, because you had us in before, even though we didn't play. Sorry, we all got sick. Quotes, air quotes. But yeah, no. Also, Alabama, no, you don't get it going after losing to Vanderbilt. You don't get to go in after losing bad to Oklahoma. You maybe lose by 3 to Oklahoma, last second field goal or something. Maybe we can talk. Maybe. But no, you got blown out by Oklahoma. You lost to Vanderbilt. The same Vanderbilt team that lost to Georgia State this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I agree that SMU should be in over Alabama. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Penn State. I would not be surprised if they beat.
I think that's crazy. I think that this is the perfect moment. I think that who said this? Listen to his podcast all the time. Blanking on his name right now. But anyways, I think that Penn State's the biggest winner out of this whole situation. Bet. If I'm looking at this bracket, let me pull this up.
You got SMU, and then you would have Boise State, and then you would have the winner of.
Oh my God! Yeah, bet. Let's go.
And then you have the winner of Georgia, and that would be between Indiana and Notre Dame.
So right now, Penn State, the big deal is that they don't win the big game. Well, the big game just got a whole lot easier. If we were just competitive with Oregon, bet. Let's play SMU right now. And it's a home game. That's a win. That probably is the biggest game in Penn State history in a long time. I think they'll get the dub. Then they have another. I'm not going to call it an easy one, but I think they are they control their own destiny to make the Final Four. And it's very disappointing.
If Carson Beck is hurt and he's not going to play, and they have to rock with their backup.
The
Georgia game might be.
Who do they play next? They play Boise State, right?
Yeah. So Penn State beats SMU, then they play Boise State.
They should make the Final Four. I'm not going to say convincingly, but if they win both of those games by double digits, I wouldn't even be surprised.
I don't know. Here's what I will say. I would not be surprised, and maybe I need to look at the numbers here. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana beats Notre Dame too. I might put SMU and Indiana in a parlay.
Stop it. Don't do that.
Penn State never wins the big games. Notre Dame doesn't really impress me.
This is not March Madness. This ain't March Madness. It's not.
Hey man, Indiana can score. I don't know if Notre Dame can keep up with them. If Indiana can score like they can score, I don't know if Indiana can keep up with them. Notre Dame. Sorry, I don't know if Notre Dame can keep up with Indiana if Indiana scores like they like they
I
have
just
been.
think
They
in
can run it up.
football, it really just comes down to a lot of the times. It's all always, especially college football. The team with the bigger, stronger, faster kids is gonna win 90% of the time. 90% of the time. And I think that the bigger, stronger kids is good. They're gonna look a lot bigger and stronger. Or maybe I'm just not giving these little schools any credit, but I don't know. I'm just
I will say one thing that will help Penn State is their run defense if they do go up against Boise State, because Boise State's probably gonna, rely on that. Here's one thing I will say though about the football, the college football bracket in the landscape. I think instead of giving those conference winners a bye, or let me word it like this: just because you win your conference doesn't mean an automatic bye. That's how it should be. Arizona State should be in because they won their conference. Boise State should be in because they won their conference. Clemson should be in because they won their conference. That doesn't now Clemson's ranked 12th, but what I'm saying is, like I said, I don't think Boise State's probably the third best team out of this in this field, and they get a bye. So I think they deserve to be in the playoffs, but I don't think they deserve a bye. So what I would say is that you include them in the playoffs, but just because you win your conference doesn't mean it's an automatic bye. But
I agree.
That's just that's just an option that they can look at moving forward. But like I said, I don't know. Arizona State is all right. I mean, they got a good run game. They're playing really confident. And I like the field. I don't mind the field. Like I said, I honestly think SMU could take down Penn State. I honestly think Indiana could take down Notre Dame. Already, those would be two great matchups in the opening round that could be upsets. I mean, then you got. I mean, I think Texas handles Clemson fairly well, but Tennessee, Ohio State should be a good game too.
Yeah,
it's not like they're bad games. And I don't want to hear nothing about blowouts. We have blowouts, 1 or 2 blowouts every year since the 14 playoffs started, except for 1 year. I think there was no blowouts. Every single year there's been blowouts. It's bound to happen.
I expect 2 of these games to be blowouts. I was
about to say, when TCU was in the national championship, they got absolutely.
Yeah, they knew that was coming. They knew that one was coming. I feel like the way that it is formatted now, if I were the 6 seed, which is Penn State, or the 5 seed, which is Texas, and I'm seeing after this game I get to play Arizona State and Boise State instead of Oregon and Georgia, let's go. Like, I would rather not have the bye. I would rather have this route than have Oregon, who's probably going to play Ohio State or Tennessee. I would kind of be mad. I'd rather play the extra game than to
I guess the only thing with football differently than basketball in this situation is that, that extra game, but you're more likely to have injuries or just something bad happen in that extra game compared to like a basketball, So, but I guess in Texas's case, because I mean, my mind instantly goes to your quarterback going down. Oh, well, they got Manny to come in. So I guess in Texas's case, oh, well.
They're chilling. I'm big fan. There's some people at Texas like bet.
But no, I get your point, though, in the fact that instead of getting that bye and having to sit at home and this and that, you get a game in, you get loosened up, you feel good. That other team's been at home, hasn't been in a game-like situation, and you just keep rolling through. So, but yeah, like I said, I mean, Boise State deserves to be in, Arizona State deserves to be in, but I wouldn't have them probably the 3 and the 4. I wouldn't give them automatic buys, but that's me. I probably would throw Texas in there. They probably get an automatic buy. I guess I don't know who else. I don't really think Penn State's deserving of it. I don't really know if Ohio State's deserving of it.
No.
Notre Dame definitely doesn't.
No. They lost to Missouri Western.
So maybe, you know what? Maybe that's fine with me. Give me Arizona State as that 4. So the only team I'd switch out of the 4 is Boise State. I would throw Texas in there, but I'm fine with Arizona State being in there. You win the Big 12, that's fine. Whatever. It's not a good conference, but you win it. That's fine. Better than the Mountain West.
We'll see.
So, all right, Erik, I feel like me and Ty just kind of rambled off there. Anything you want to include about that? All right. Fair enough. Ty, you
guys are more well-versed in the college realm.
You got a winner here, Ty, that you're liking?
I like Texas. I like Texas. And also,
I don't hate Texas either.
It's just, I think this is, I don't think this is true. In the last 5 years, Georgia's lost to 2 teams. Georgia, and then they're lost to Ole Miss this year. they lost to Bama 3 times, and they lost to Ole Miss once. It's teams that are not named Bama 99% of the time typically don't beat Georgia, but this Georgia team ain't that good.
And Carson Beck's hurt.
Yeah, it's not. I'm going to roll with – I'm just going to go narrative and storyline. I would love to see Arch Manning win the Super Bowl, win the national championship for Texas.
This is what happens when we combine our podcast with NFL and college.
I would love if he won it in Tua fashion, where Tua came in for Jalen Hurts and just took off and won. I would love that. That would be so amazing.
I will say this because I remember I had this saved. Also, going back to my Indiana take here, and the fact that people bring up their strength of schedule. When you look at who they played, and like I said, they can put up points, 29 at UCLA, 49 over Nebraska, 14 over Washington, 37 at Michigan State, 66 over Purdue. Like, I get those aren't world beater teams, but they can put up points. They beat Michigan too, which doesn't look so bad now that they beat Ohio State. I don't know. I think this team, if they get out going and they can put up points fast, I really don't think Notre Dame can hang with them. But yeah, go back to your point, Ty. I didn't mean to interrupt there, but just happened to come across that stat. So
my heart wants Texas to win. My brain, I'm just going to be basic and go with Oregon because they're undefeated.
Yeah.
So. And
I hate that.
They have the most experienced quarterback in college football ever, which, I mean, that just speaks volumes about what's going on over there. So yeah, I'm hanging my hat on Texas. I'm gonna go for Texas. That's my squad who I'm rocking with the rest of the way.
Yep, I like Texas. I like Oregon. I don't really trust Georgia now with Beck hurt. Like I said, first round, I like Indiana. I like SMU first round. Texas, I think, could get there. So obviously like them. If I had to pick a sleeper, I don't know. It's hard to really pick a sleeper because I feel like these are all pretty decent teams. I mean, obviously SMU would be a sleeper, but I meant I don't know. I feel like Tennessee might be able to do something. I mean, like I said, is that really a sleeper? But
beating Ohio State and Oregon, that'd be
something, right?
Then beating Texas and probably beating Georgia, that would be special. Their quarterbacks are 2 freshmen.
I'm just saying that's a sleeper. So, all right. I think that's all that we have for this episode 20. Again, host Calvin Silvers. We also had Erik Kellgren, Tyrone, Thornton. Anything you guys want to say before I wrap it up?
Yeah, quick, because you just mentioned we were just talking about college football. I have a dynasty that I play on my own with Mississippi State, and in the Final Four, I played Ohio State. I'm like, who's this quarterback? Got me up. Like, I looked, it was Dylan Raiola. He transferred to Ohio State. I'm like, what? What type of storyline is this? What?
Oh, man.
It was like a 9. It was his senior year. We ended up winning the game, but I was like, this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
The Nebraska fans would be sick. Yeah, they'd be sick if that happened.
Dummy.
That's funny. Literally. Oh, Dylan. What about you, Erik? Anything you want to say?
I got nothing.
All right, he's got nothing. Well, as mentioned, you can follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter, I guess now known as X. I keep saying Twitter, but it's actually X. We're also on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Just type in For What It's Worth Podcast, or you can put at FWIW Sports Pod. Should lead you to all our socials. Comment, like, share the links. Do whatever you guys can. We really appreciate it. Once again, Calvin Silvers, Erik Kellgren, Tyrone Thornton. Until next time, we'll see you later and have a good one.